Welcome to the Experiential Retail track, which is our second to the last track for the first day of the Retail Innovation Asia Virtual Conference 2022. So we start off this track with a panel discussion on how to start experiential retail. Joining us are Ravi Shankar, Country Head Lenskart Indonesia, Sharrom Yezdegardi, Country Manager India and for 3D Immersive at Adobe, Sandeep Bedi, Vice President Sales and Business Development for Gupshup. We have Clifford Academia, Vice President for Operations at Aboitiz InfraCapital. We have Thuc, Managing Director, Guardian Vietnam, and our moderator, Mr. Michael Rehfeld, Strategy Lead Southeast Asia at Accenture. So over to you, Michael.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jet, and welcome everybody. This is a fantastic topic, experiential retail, especially after 2 years of COVID. This topic is getting more and more important in terms of how we get the customer or shopper back into the store, and how do we make this as immersive and exciting as possible to capture the attention of our customers. For today's discussion, as Jet already introduced, we have a fantastic panel, and I'm quite eager to hear in terms of how how the last 2 years have shaped the industry on the ground, as well as what do we see going forward. Yeah. Um, what I wanted to start off is actually talking with Thuc, who's joining us from Vietnam here with Guardian. And Thuc, as far as I understand, Guardian Vietnam operates about 100 stores across the country with a lot of daily interactions with your shoppers and customers. What changes have you made over the past 18 months to improve the retail experience?
Well, thank you, Michael. So, first of all, hello everyone. I'm Thuc. I'm currently managing Guardian Vietnam. As you might know, Guardian is the leading health and beauty retailer in Asia, and particularly in Vietnam with the network of more than 100 stores offline and online. We are perceived by customers as a mass health and beauty specialist here with a wide range of products, affordable price, with trusted quality and good service. So first of all, I'm very glad to be here with you to share my opinion about experiential retail from the perspective of retailer and a brand owner, especially after almost 2 years with COVID, and especially where to start transforming a brick and mortar retailers to improve and enhance our omnichannel experience after COVID time. So making customer happy every day to buy and come back to the store is the biggest mission for all of us. So let's start with my personal perspective about experiential retails. I think it all starts with the understanding about the touch points, at the specific targeted customers, and then as a retailers like Guardian or brand, we make these touch points so wow that customer would love to buy our product and come back to the store, for example. And as omni-channels like retailers, we must create the first touch point impressive enough to convert the potential customer to loyal customers. The first touch point can be both online and offline, and importantly, the experience must be consistent online and offline. So for example, customers see the vibrant orange store of Guardian along the street here. They must notify the impressive vibrant orange Guardian store and online as well, no matter it's COVID time or normal day, right? And Guardian is positioned like as a trusted retailer that provide quality and value health and beauty products to customers. So trustworthy is a very important factor for us to sustain across the touch points online and offline through color, font types that we use and visual merchandising, for example. And our product especially 100% must be qualified because the trust is important, matters to our customers. So you may ask, like during the COVID lockdown, which painfully happened over the last 2 years in the countries like China or Vietnam and some of your countries, how a retailer like Guardian could engage with customer and ensure a wow customer experience without physical touch in the store. Yeah. Well, we have to first accept that our sales assistant cannot approach the customer as close as before, right? We have to retrain our team members to consult the customer from 1 meter distance with uncomfortable masks. Secondly, visual merchandising must play a bigger role to provide more information than usual, right? And much more intensive online communication and especially conversions commerce take in place. So we explore the new platform to connect with our customers besides Facebook, like WhatsApp, Viber, and Yellow. Yellow in Vietnam is very popular communication platform, and Yellow was so helpful, especially during the lockdown. Like at Guardian, we created the neighborhood chat group on Yellow to support our customers who are living near to our store and directly serve customers from our nearest stores. So we have to be very agile to adapt to the new touch point those days. So back to the having better the experience from the understanding the touch point better. For me, for brick and mortar retailers, as you know, the in-store experience is vital, right? And compared to online business, measurements of customer journey in offline business somehow is not as good as online business, which is strongly supported by the entire ecosystem of internet. So to understand the in-store touchpoint deeper, we need some kinds of in-store analytics. And in Guardian, we need to understand the store heat map of each store, right? Customer journey in each store, understand the time customers spend in front of each category, for example. And at the scale of more than 100 stores and million of customers that we are serving right now, it's much more productive to partner with the tech company like Balasi, a local tech solution. We partner with Balasi to develop the solution for in-store analytics. And it's now much better for us as a brick and mortar retailers to make a better decision to adjust the store layout, improve the range with more data, more fact nowadays. So during the COVID time, we have time to improve the solution, and as of today, it's perfectly fitting with our business needs. So, for example, I can give you one example, like the in-store analytics that we did last year. We decided, after we look at the data, we decided to enlarge the aisle of the cosmetic and skincare because we found that some store customers spend more time and buy more when we have larger space in front of cosmetic and skincare units. It's not exactly the same like for personal care, but more for cosmetic and skincare. And it have to improve the conversion rate and the repeat purchase over there. So for me, the experiential retail start with making customer wow at the relevant touch point, online and offline. However, in the other hand, some of you might disagree with you on this. I think we should not be overwhelmed by innovative digital solution and try not to bring as many solutions as possible to the business. It starts with the business needs like us. So that then we even without any digital solution as a retailer or brand, I think we still be able to make an extraordinary personalized customer experience by understanding the touch point better and be agile, deal with the situation, be creative with the content by wow service and offers. But I tend to agree that to scale up the personalized customer experience, we definitely need some help from technology that I'm sure there's plenty of solutions that we can find out there in the market these days, lucky enough. Just need to find out the right one that is relevant to the business needs. So before ending, let me wrap it up by a quote that I really like from Steve Jobs, the founder of iconic Apple brand. you got to start with the customer experience and work back toward technology, not the other way around. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Thuc. This is very insightful, and thank you so much for sharing sharing your journey with Guardian Vietnam. And it's interesting to see how, especially for a retailer that caters to almost weekly shopping, with a high frequency across and multiple or millions of touch points on a day-to-day basis, what you do with the physical store. And the physical store for your business is still front and center, and making that work is critical. Let's move on to Ravi, who's actually in a different kind of category, and mixing both online and offline. So, Ravi, as I understand, Lenskart is both physical as well as particularly for fittings and or trying out the products, but also online when it comes to purchase or repurchase. What has happened, particularly in Indonesia, where lockdown over the past 2 years has been on and off, quite disturbing to your business? What changes have you made to better serve your customers in a very unique category?
Yeah, hi, Michael. Thanks. Yeah, it is. Lenskart is truly omni-channel retail. So if you want to buy your frames, if you want to test your eyes, you need to walk into store. You need to, you need to test your eyes. Then, and based on the prescription basis, you can choose your frames and you can choose your lenses accordingly. Like you rightly said, we have also faced a lot of issues during lockdown. All the stores were closed, and malls were also closed. And what we did during lockdown is we invented home try-on services. So our optometrists will go to their home and they'll test their eyes. For that, instrument makers like NIDAC and all, they helped us. They made us, it's all. What I used to say is, necessity is mother of all invention, right? Because of this necessity, we bought a portable eye testing machine so that our optom can carry the testing machine in two-wheeler, or they can carry by hand. They can go to their customer's home. They can test their eyes, as well as we do have certain frames. We have also invested in technology called 3D try-on. They'll carry their laptop or iPad, the iPad in their home. Customers can. The camera will scan the face in 3D, and they can choose the frames, whichever frames they want according to their face. They can choose, and it will go to him instantly. It will show you, if you wear that frame, how will you look like. So prescription is done on home. Choosing the frames also done on home through technology, and it gives the immersive customers no need to come out. And because of COVID and everything, people are. You also know, most of the retailers agree with me. There are a lot of restrictions during 2020 and 2021. You cannot come out, and you need to have vaccination certificate. Many things were there. So all these things we eliminated through technology, as well as home try-on and 3D try-on. We used all this technology and give a better experience to customer, and customers felt very happy that the moment they booked in, we sent their optoms to their home. They have chosen whatever, thousands and thousands of frames are loaded in 3D. They can choose whatever they want. Our team assisted them to choose if it is elder customers. All these things, assisted shopping, personalized shopping, and home shopping. All these things we covered during this lockdown. And also, we also invested in Tango. It's a computer vision technology which uses artificial intelligence and machine learning, which converts video data to decision making sites. So these all the technology helped us to give a immersive experience to customers, as well as we retained our sales during pandemic times. And we also expanded during pandemic. In India, we have reached almost around 1,000 stores mark, and in Singapore during last 2 years we opened 23 stores in Singapore. Now recently we opened in Dubai. So it's for us, whether it is pandemic or non-pandemic, we are constantly in touch with customers. We improved our service. These are all the innovations I would like to emphasize. This is because of COVID forced us to do all these activities, and it's a tremendous learning for us. Now customers are directly calling us through WhatsApp, or it's like conversation. They are booking their appointments. We are sending Optum to their home, and they can choose their forms at home. We'll deliver at home.
Fantastic. And I mean, great news that you actually managed to open and expand during such challenging times. Has the store and the store layout fundamentally changed, particularly for the new stores that you're opening?
Yes, what we are currently, earlier we used to open 100 square meters to minimum 150 square meter stores, where we used to keep all the frames, lenses, and everything. Now through this technology, we have now installed touch screens as well as 3D try-on screens in multiple locations. We need very smaller store. Now small is beautiful, right? So even IKEA kind of store, they are opening a smaller store. What we focus now, instead of opening 150 to 200 square meter store, for us, what is record is 50 to 60 square meter store, which we can cater, and virtually we can give almost 1,000 to 2,000 frames option to customer. They can choose their frames through virtual, and based on their prescription testing, we will deliver at home. So this helped us. This technology helped us to choose the right location with smaller space, and also we have tested pop-up stores. Like earlier we used to have testing center, frames, everything in the store. Now for us, because we do have a lot of expansion, we have home try-on option, we have portable testing machines, everything is there. So we are moving towards pop-up store, smaller store as a concept.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ravi. Sandeep, this must be music to your ears. How does Adobe help when it comes to retailers providing a more experiential retail environment, both online and offline? What is it that you are, I think, helping? If you could just give a bit of an overview in terms of what Adobe does in this space, because probably not everybody is familiar with that, and what are the big changes that you see?
Yeah. Hi. Okay, so Sharrom here from the Adobe 3D and Immersive division, right? And today we create tools and technologies that are helping brands create immersive experiences, essentially to close this gap that they have with their consumers. Now, when we get into the concept of experiential retail, we have to understand that experiential retail's most, the main purpose of it, of course, is not just to upsell or sell more, but is to engage the consumer and to build brand loyalty and to drive up consumer engagement. Now, how do you do this correctly? And to do this, you need to really engage the senses of a consumer, sight, smell, look, feel. This is why we still enjoy, even as adults, we still enjoy walking into candy shops or toy shops because of all these colorful things that stand out, and the whole environment that there is. Now, taking from the example that my co-panelist Thuc said, that in today's environment, product brands are feeling distanced from their consumers. Through her example, even the sales rep or the store rep has to maintain a 1 meter distance, right? How are you going to bridge this gap? And from the side of the business that I come, immersive technology is going to help you bridge this gap. Now, let's evaluate how companies can leverage immersive technologies. And again, coming from Thuc's example, let's start at the customer. So, who is today's customer? It's these millennials. They're shopping online. They're brand conscious. They want ethically sourced, materials, cruelty-free, ingredients in cosmetics, for example. So brands need to first help their consumers identify with things like these, right? And they need to have a strong digital presence as well as an offline presence and connect both of them. So in comes in technologies that are immersive, truly immersive, like AR and VR, that are allowing brands and companies to, bridge this gap through immersive experiences. I'd like to point out two examples, and I'm going to actually come to an example from the world of cosmetics, right? So L'Occitane en Provence is a French luxury brand in this space. They have they have a flagship store called 555 at Fifth Avenue, New York. And in this store, they've designed the store in a way where you feel like you're actually walking into Provence, a region of France. They also have AR and VR experiences over there, where a consumer can wear, for example, a virtual reality headset, and he gets transported to an experience in Provence. It's actually a hot air balloon experience that gives the consumer, uh, you know, uh, sight and smells of the region of Provence, and thus they're creating this engagement and this direct connection with the product and the region it comes from, and they're building a whole experience around it. So that's something that just came to the top of my mind, just to link it with what Thuc said, and she's coming from this world of luxury cosmetics. But let's look at another example. Nike has House of Innovations. They have flagship stores at, again, New York Fifth Avenue. They have one in Shanghai, and they've recently opened one in Paris. And what they've done in New York, for example, is they've tied up with a creative company that creates a virtual experience. So when people come into the store, they can look at a particular place, and they're basically recreating this experience of visiting the Smith Rock State, National Park. And when a person comes in, he can leverage his mobile technology, scan a QR code, get more information about a product. But then you also have a map of the store that pops up as an adventure map, and then the consumer can go around to certain areas of the store, complete quest in an AR, environment. He can checklist all the adventures or challenges that he has completed, and finally he is rewarded with an in-store gift. And this is how people are using digital experiences in the physical world to enhance this whole consumer immersiveness, and to bridge the gap between product and consumer. So I think that's it from me. But one last point. KPMG really did a report which talks about, the name of the report is Customer Experience in This New Reality. And what they're really talking about is today's consumer is 79% more likely to spend on an experience or a product related experience just over a product. So we have to keep things like this in mind and start to really understand who our consumer is and what is the shifting landscape. Open
Thank
to
you so
questions.
much, Sharrom. No, this is fantastic, and a good segue also into our next panelist, Clifford, who actually is a mall, or works as a mall operator, right? From design, build, and also running. It sounds like the tenants or the tenant landscape is changing with people like Ravi requiring smaller stores, other stores thinking about experience. How can we bring a better experience to that? What do you see from a or as a mall operator in terms of the changes that you need to bring to bring shoppers back into the physical environment, but also provide value added service or insights to the tenants within your premises?
Hi, Michael. Pleasant afternoon to everyone, my fellow panelists. It's 3:43 here in the Philippines, so I'm saying good afternoon. The pandemic has been a very challenging time for mall operators. However, we do acknowledge that um, our line of malls have been one of the first to be able to come back when once the restrictions have lowered down. A little bit of context on what we do. Our mall complexes are actually part of a bigger ecosystem wherein we do develop and operate townships, and we call it economic centers. And these are industrial anchored townships wherein majority of the footprint are actually manufacturing companies. And our retail or our mall complexes are thoughtfully included within that master plan, wherein we provide that complementary retail experience within the entire township. And so with that said, our strategy in our mall approach has always been something that provides a community center, an outdoor sprawling location where workers and nearby residents can enjoy. So thereby we are differentiated from a typical big box mall, wherein it's air conditioned and the like, right? So with that said, after the pandemic, we realized that we it's actually the very much sought after format, given the restrictions and given the health requirements for mall operators. uh, we also realize that as the shopper habits and the shopper preferences change, we continue to be encouraged that our formats have been something that encourages small visits. So allow me to give me an example. For example, in the Philippines, there's a huge pet sort of community already. Dog lovers, cat lovers, and the like. No, so they need spaces to enjoy this, or to bring out these interests. And in fact, that has changed the way the malls operate. For us, having sprawling and open air malls, it's very easy for us to adapt into these new and upcoming um, trends of the shopper behaviors. So therefore, as the lockdowns have been eased, we see a lot of people coming to outdoor malls. And with that, we we definitely help our tenants by putting in relevant programming, relevant marketing initiatives and activities that support their interests. And we also leverage that knowledge with related concepts and related stores. Now, um, one of the innovative things we did was a balance of online and offline shopping, wherein we highlighted our restaurants and allowed them to use the our entire complex as their dining area. So we partnered with, for example, we partnered with a local food application um, provider, wherein you can sit anywhere in the mall and then find your favorite restaurants within that app, and then order what you like, and then it's delivered where you are. You don't necessarily have to eat within the premises of the restaurant. And we also created a retail counterpart of that, wherein you actually have a virtual shopper application, wherein you can buy your prescription glasses, you can buy your shoes, you can buy it even without going to the physical store, but being within the mall, and it's delivered to you while you're enjoying this community park and this outdoor area um, facility, right? um, and so much more we did during the pandemic, and something that we have really realized that to Thuc's point, we have to start with the customer and how they are changing, and continue to understand that, and tweak and change and adapt programs to that end. And of course, as small operators, we make it a point that we engage with the stores, uh, because they're our partners. Um, so what we do is we continuously help them and continuously communicate with them in terms of getting ahead of what's the standards in the government. For example, what are the current health protocols that are needed for inline stores? What are the current safety protocols that the government is working on? So we touch base with the stores. We continuously work with them so that their personnel in the stores, their processes, their touch points are all updated, and therefore can facilitate visits, can facilitate store store transactions and face-to-face transactions. So far, this has been working for us. In 2020, we continue to see new stores opening despite some restrictions in where we are, and it has been encouraging for us, especially when in the turn of 2021, wherein there had been more openings in our malls.
Fantastic, Clifford. Thank you so much. One follow-up question here around the customer data that you potentially could harness across your malls in terms of the activity that's happening. Is that something that you see as a stronger focus going forward? And do you intend to share also some of that data with your tenants?
Thanks for the question, David. Mike, sorry. Yeah, definitely. So with the applications that we're using for mall shopping assistance and even food ordering, we do share that information with our locators and with our tenants. Um, one thing that we've learned is that there's a lot of engagement for it, and from where we sit in the Philippines, internet or connectivity infrastructure is really something that we need to work with, because this will enable us to collect that data. This will enable the shoppers to interact more using the internet, and thereby allowing us to pay it forward and give this information and data back to our tenants.
No, fantastic, excellent. I'm sure that's music to Thuc's ears, and probably is going to go back to her mall operators to see what other data she can get to see that she can provide the right offerings to the customers. Last but not least, I wanted to actually this time talk to Sandeep. Apologies earlier for calling you out. But Sandeep is actually helping retailers when it comes to the customer engagement across the entire funnel, from discovery to purchase and after sales. How important do you see, or what's the role when it comes to communication? How do you see this actually evolving? Not just from a traditional retail perspective, but now even when we talk about quick commerce, social commerce, conversational commerce, what's the role with regards to communication and around the retail store?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Sandeep. Just to introduce myself, as Michael said, I work for Gupshup. I lead the business development and sales, especially for Southeast Asia. Gupshup is a leading conversational messaging platform for commerce, marketing, and support. And our tagline is "one-on-one with everyone," which is a segue into the conversational commerce and retail as to what we're talking about today. Before I specifically talk about conversational commerce and such, over the last 2 years, there's a lot of the consumer behaviors and preferences which have changed, right? And the reason why that has happened is because of course, because COVID happened, there was a focus on health and safety. Even now, 70% people are still, the consumers are still worried about, health and safety, and thus, probably these behaviors will continue. This led to more focus on digital experiences. There is expectation for increased convenience. With the consumers started shopping online, they have kind of got used to it or see merit in that. And now the challenge for retailers would be to continue to leverage these trends and adjust their practices, with these changing these preferences, right? Traditionally, we were living in a product economy where brands, compete with each other based on lower pricing and quality of product, right? So, but the latest trends show that 80% of the consumers, based on what happened over the last years, are willing to pay more to get a better customer experience. So customer experience is coming at the the front and center is the point which I'm making. And conversational commerce or chat commerce or conversational marketing is a way for online retailers or brick and mortar retailers to unleash this potential of a conversation to sell their product and services. It doesn't matter what channel you kind of service this need, but the need is to be there, to be present over there, right? So if you look at the number of people who are on these channels, let's say if it's a WhatsApp, or if it is a Viber, or if it is a Yalo, the numbers are astounding, right? You've got 2 billion people which are currently already there on WhatsApp, and so what brands realize that the most inexpensive and successful way to connect with these potential customers is to meet them where they already are, right? So that's the basic change which has kind of led to this conversational commerce. And the other thing which conversational commerce really offers is the personalization, right? I mean, if you look at how traditional brick and mortar commerce is, or even how e-commerce and online commerce is, very SEO oriented. It is more, how to create a funnel which kind of services the entire customer base. But with conversational commerce, you could actually make it very, make it personalized. You could make it specific to the person who's kind of coming in and visiting you, right? So based on these above factors, the conversational commerce, there's a lot of benefits for shoppers. First is enhanced customer support, faster resolution of their issues, less research that they need to do, more personalizations, and more touch points. That's the benefit which the consumers are reaping because of this conversational commerce. For the retailers, both e-commerce and brick and mortar, there is increased responsiveness, enhanced efficiency, enhanced customer relationship, right, which they can build. Streamlined selling, and the holy grail, of course, is the abundant amount of data across the entire customer journey, right? So I'll just touch upon like the entire the journey, as we call it, the conversational journey, and how it helps retailers, right? So it starts with awareness, right? It's where a consumer realizes that they have a problem or they have a need and they want to buy something, right? So that's the awareness stage is the most important stage of the entire funnel, and conversational tools let you connect with customers who've just begun their journey and are searching for providers like you, right? So that's the number one. The second one is the second part of the journey is when consumers want to actually start, they start doing preliminary research and have learned a little bit about you, but the information gathering is not stopped. And again, conversational commerce can really help over there as well. The third one is actual decision making, and this is where you could provide social proofs, you could strengthen the buying experience by the conversation, because and kind of resolve issues or questions instantly, right? So these are and then of course retention and advocacy, right? So and there are numerous use cases which actually help the consumers. I'll just finish with some facts and numbers, and that which is well documented. That 75% of the customers are more likely to spend if they can message them, or rather than calling them, right? And in-app messaging has 75% open rates. That's 45 times more higher than email, and 3 times more than push notifications. And almost only 22% of the consumers are happy with the level of personalization they receive today in the traditional or e-commerce world, right? So I think I'll wrap up with these numbers and kind of as to why conversational messaging is where we are at, and why this is the future of commerce.
No, fantastic, Sandeep. And just one follow-up question within the retail industry, I guess, is there a specific segment where you think conversational retail works specifically well, or do you think this is across the board equal? Just taking Thuc from a Guardian perspective to Ravi with Lenskart, is there a specific segment where you think it's better to do a conversational commerce? Or
yes. In the last 2 years, we've seen most of the usage towards the customer support, right? Is where traditionally most of these brands have started. I think because it helps you do FAQs, it helps you resolve faster, it helps you get to the person faster, and then the always on concept, right? So if you're on a WhatsApp, it's already there's adoption is already there, right? It's already on your phone. You don't have to download any app. You could just immediately start having a conversation, right? So customer support was where we saw most of it, but a lot of that now is moving to the promotional area, right? So since the start of this year is where we're seeing the pivot into the promotional, or trying to attack more of the top line, right? And then of course the third one is the actual e-commerce, the use cases around the actual commerce. But that's how I would rate these three journeys.
No, excellent. And one last question is, from a country maturity perspective within Southeast Asia, where do you see the markets on a spectrum?
Right. So the so-called digital native or the mobile first economies which are taking the kind of the leadership in this space, and primarily that is Indonesia and Malaysia is where we're seeing most of this coming up. But if I know this is a retail forum, but if you look at the other geographies, especially for example Singapore, is where a lot of the fintech kind of demand is coming from. But to answer a specific question, I would say Malaysia and Indonesia are leading the pack.
No, fantastic. And nowadays industry lines are blurring anyway. So who is truly a retailer and who is not is becoming less and less clear. So learning from other areas or other industries is certainly the way to go. But look, panelists, thank you so much. I do hope that also for the attendees, this was a very interesting and insightful 45-minute discussion. I do think that we had a great view, not just from retailers like Thuc and Ravi, but also the ecosystem partners. So whether that's a mall operator, technology providers, or was Sandeep also from a conversational perspective. I do think the holistic view around where experiential retail is going and how you can make a difference across the touch points that you have offline, in store, as well as online is absolutely insightful. And I do wish everybody well, and thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you to the rest of the panelists for that great discussion. Again, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, you may reach out to them directly through the People tab. You can look for their names directly and send them a private message. But specifically for Sandeep from Gupshup and Sharrom from Adobe, you can visit them in the booth section. They have their respective company booths, and they and their team will be ready to assist any of you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Up next, we have Vishal Chopra, a director and head of marketing, APAC and MEA at Freshworks, on a keynote on omnichannel in retail, the pathway to customer delight.
Just trying to see if can somebody please confirm if you can see me fine and hear me fine. Jade,
Yeah, we can hear and see you. Vishal, go ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and thank you for this quick introduction. I'm actually going to share my screen. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for your time today. Very warm good afternoon. I'm Vishal Chopra, and I have the marketing for APAC MEA region at Freshworks. Speaking of Freshworks, many of you might already know, but here is a quick introduction to Freshworks. We are a 10-year plus old company. We have all the products in what we call as the delight category. So our products are all SaaS and enabled via cloud to help organizations delight their employees as well as customers. Because when we say a customer experience or employee experience, we typically feel that it's two sides of the same coin for a reason, because only when you have delighted employees is when you truly would be able to delight your customers too. And today my session is also, good part is that the panel discussions that we have had, it is actually going to get into a little bit of how to deliver the best customer experience and what channels for a retailer would make sense is what I'm going to dive deeper into. We happen to discuss about conversational CX, e-commerce, and there are so many other immersive, ways of, retail innovations that you would have heard in the panel. My session would go deeper into the nitty-gritties of it and logistics of it. And through the presentation, I would really want to share some of the practical tips that you can take back to your organization and start implementing. Before we do that, here is a quick view of the customers that we have been fortunate to serve in this APAC MEA region, especially in the Southeast Asia. So you have retailers like Zalora, 7-Eleven, Lenskart, who were one of the panelists in the previous session. Supara Group, for example, we have been very fortunate to serve these leading retailers in the region. Now, bringing the context part of it, now, if you really see that, what does the Southeast Asian buyers really expect? So this is a quick study that we did in the fall of 2021. It's pretty recent from that perspective. And we interviewed around 200 CX leaders in Southeast Asia. Their expectation were that almost 60% of them were actually saying that they need faster responses, and they were actually also saying that there has to be self-service capabilities whereby your customer can just come, look for the avenues where they can find answers themselves. And last, but I think the most important thing, there is enough and ever growing demand for more personalization. So the more personalized you are, more human, more conversational you are, that is where you would be able to get the better customer experiences. Having said that, there are, of course, challenges, because if customer experience was that easy, it would have been certainly something which every brand or every retailer would have been able to deliver. So what are some of the challenges that we see in this delivering the best of the customer delight? I think one part is the channel proliferation, because there are so many channels today. People are actually on WhatsApp, they are actually on Facebook Messenger, they are calling you on phone or on chat. So there are a lot of channels, and it is very important for an organization or a brand to identify which channel is important for you. Being omni-channel is one part, but then it should not be mandated just because you have to do because your competition or your other organizations or your industry is going for it. Select the channels which are right for your customers and where your customers are asking for your support. The other thing is, the moment you have multiple channels, then the next sort of challenge or level of difficulty comes in, which is the fragmented service experience. And this is also partly because of the incomplete context. So for example, if your customer reach out to you, say via chat, and then put a tweet on you and then call you, the context from each of these channels, do you have a system which can combine all these contexts and bring a one view of that customer the moment they reach out to, say, one of your agents who are actually on the line? So these are the things which are of great consideration, and that actually also put us into the spot of what channels are actually right for your respective industry and organization. So instead of boiling the ocean and taking you through a lot of channels, I thought that I would just pick the top 5 channels as we see after serving this market. We felt that these are there are few classic and traditional channels which are evergreen. You would see phone and email. And then there are few new which are actually emerging. For example, messaging, chat. The conversational support is something that you heard enough at the previous panel. There is self-service, and emerging trend on how customers really want to feel empowered and be in that position to look for information and help themselves without any contact. And that is what we will get in details of. So for each of these 5 channels, I'm basically going to now share some of the practical tips. I'm not going to go in details of, hey, why phone is required or why email is required. I think that that has been done and tested already enough through the day. So I'm just going to go straight into the practical tips of how you can get each of these channels right and what are the things that you can do to make these channel efficient for yourself. So self-service, again, fast, affordable, and easy, because there is so much that your customers are empowered on, and there is so much that the customer can themselves find a solution to. What are some of the things that we feel you can do today in terms of the self-service? I think, first of all, identify your top queries, which is also at times we say L1 queries or the FAQs or the Vismo, which is, where is my order sort of, queries. So once you have the bank of these queries, it's easy for you to create a FAQ section. And the moment somebody comes in, you can just simply, offer that FAQ section and have them understand these queries on their own. Um, One of the other important aspect is, now that the technology is advanced so much, and it can always be a very enticing option for many of the organizations out there, whether they should buy or they should build. Our experience has been that the way the technology is changing and the expectations of the customers are on the on the rise all the time. It's important that you go with a technology or a leader who is scalable, who understands the market, who understands the pulse check of the customer expectations. So in a way, it's better to understand the current available options than to set out on the journey of building something on your own. Another important portion which has been emerging, and this is the latest thing which is happening, and there is a lot of investment which is happening in the self-service zone, which is bots. How do you basically train the bots? How do you basically use these bots as a scalable way, yet not compromising on your customer experience? Because end of the day, whatever bot or technology that you buy or build, it can only be as good as you train them. So it is very critical that you train the bots to accept the defeats. You train them to a level whereby the bot or this entire thought this entire scenario doesn't get into an infinite loop, because it's very frustrating. All of us are a customer ourselves, and we know that how frustrating it could be the moment you go and interact with the bot, and then it comes back to the same question where it all started. So you really do not want to end up in that situation, and it is very critical that you do 2 things. If you're going with the bot, then train them well, and the second thing is, have a mechanism where there is a handling of channels can be done, or swapping of channels can be done. So from bot, the person can go to a live support on chat, or they can actually go for a voice support too. Another important thing is, along with your traditional KPIs or the efficiency measures that you track, another one is your ZCR, which is zero contact resolution, which is nothing but how efficient your self-service channels are, whereby a customer came and they found the solution on their own. So this ZCR is another critical metrics which is actually emerging these days. Here is a quick example, and one of our customers, 7-Eleven Philippines, and they are basically using a bot. Freddy AI is basically our bot name. And they basically, because of the bot and the scalability that it offers, they were actually able to handle 20,000 inquiries and comments on social media through this bot. And not only the scalability came in, but our bot are also capable to basically train the new agents, in the sense that they would be actually giving live recommendations on the inbound query that is coming, what would be a potential solution, and also help agents in filling in the mundane or the regular information that is required for your CRM or your customer support technology at the back end. So this is something that I thought I would share and give you an understanding of how these recommendations are already in play, and how organizations like 7-Eleven are making the best use of it. Messaging, I think enough has been said already in the previous panel discussion. We feel that messaging is a great way to basically get attention and keep your audience engaged. It's conversational and human. What are the things that you can do? I think one of the best way to think of your chat as a channel is to ensure that it's available across. It's available on app, website, and even on third-party platforms. So what do you do with that? It's basically you are giving an opportunity to your customers to reach out to you wherever they are going. One important aspect of making your chat successful or this initiative successful is optimizing the routing workflows. And how do you do that? For example, if there is a chat query that is coming in, you understand the product category, or you basically route it with the customer segment. If there is a high paying customer, or if you have a certain loyalty program, if that customer is falling into a certain loyalty program, you route them to a different queue, and you sort of optimize the routing there. So it's very important that speed should also be optimized when it comes to the chat part of it. I personally feel that empowering agent with the right context is just not limited to this channel, which is chat. Empowering agents with the right context across any channels that you work with is the paramount requirement today. It's non-negotiable in my mind. Imagine a technology set that you have whereby a customer is approaching you, and for example, if you are sharing the right context in the context of chat now, it would actually show, let's say, last two orders from this customer, or it might actually show your agent or your rep on what are some of the previous two interactions that this customer would have had via what channel. So I think that kind of context and that kind of user journey view would certainly enable your reps to help them in the context and help them at the speed at which your customers is expecting you to. I would go pretty quick on this as well, because I know there is a time paucity, and I know the previous session was a little longer, so I don't want to hold up you on the other things. But then another point that we should really track is the number of missed chats. Oftentimes, what really happens that we see that, okay, how many chat came and how many were resolved and so on and so forth, but then we miss the number of missed chats. It also tells you that how you need to staff your chat support better, and that is where this matrix comes very handy. Another example I thought I would bring in from Southeast Asia, which is Sokar Malaysia, which is one of the travel and logistic companies. So by doing this chat enabled support, they actually grew their productivity, agent productivity, by 3 times. So on a regular day, the agents were able to take 35 calls, but because of chat and the bots and the other support that you get through chat, that 35 has now become 95 chats per agent on a daily basis. So that's a 3 time productivity. By no means we are saying that it's a chat versus call thing. I think it's just about, like I started the conversation, understanding the channel, understanding the nature of the query, and then routing your customer query according to that channel is what is the need of the hour. Let's say if it is something which requires a quick resolution, perhaps it's chat. And if it is something which requires a prompt escalation or a prompt resolution, then which may not actually happen on chat, then it's phone line. And if it is something which can wait or where you have to offer more details, then it's email, because typically email you would actually work on your SLAs, and it's typically a 24-hour stat. So depending on the nature of the query, you should then route the traffic of your inbound queries. Email, again, not going to go in details. We all know we use it every day, day in, day out. Important is that we set the clear SLAs and we communicate them so that the customer is aware that when they can expect a resolution. I think there is a point here too in terms of optimizing. So the moment an email is coming, an incoming email, you can always route it through the through on the basis of the skill of the agent. For example, if you are in a certain product department which is in fashion, then you route this to a rep which is good on the fashion department versus somebody who is on electronics, for that matter. Again, one of the things is that when you get to use email, there are a lot of canned responses or automatic replies that you are going to do, but be very judicious with it, because uh, the moment you do overdo it, your customers are not actually going to like it. The key is that how do you continue to personalize it, and yet you continue to update the customer through the journey when they reached out to you and to the time the resolution is done. So that's about email as a channel. Phone, I think, is enough said and done. We all like phone because it offers the best human touch possible. But then at the same time, being a customer of some or other brands, we also know how frustrating it could be. In fact, If we were together in today's setup today, I would have certainly loved to, get a show of hands, and where I would have certainly loved to ask this question, that how many of us felt really frustrated on phone when we spoke to one of our brands. And I can tell you that across the places where I went and where I had the opportunity to interact with people, there was not even a single hand which was not raised, because we all been through such painful experiences where we were put in line, we were made to wait, and we were like it was an infinite thing that we were chasing. So how the important part in phone is how do you basically control or optimize the wait time of your customer. So there are things, for example, set up the callbacks. Instead of, if you feel that the queue is really long for the customer inbound queries, you basically give them an option that, okay, share your number and we will call back. That's something that has worked very well in the recent times. Again, I would say the if you have an opportunity, or if you really follow that kind of loyalty program, or that kind of customer segmentation where your high value customers need to be given very prompt resolution, then you have an opportunity to route the calls according to the customer lifetime value as you have ascertained. So this is about the phone channel. I think social channel, I think this is one of the areas where things are getting really, really quick, and there is a lot of innovation which is actually happening in this area. So one of the thing is that if, let's say, you are on Twitter, then ensure that you maintain separate channels for brand and support comms, because the moment what really happens if you are on Twitter, or for that matter any social media avenues, there would be a lot of volume which will actually come to your brand handles, and it would be very difficult for any technology that you use for your team also to basically monitor all the mentions and then filter it out, that which is for support and which is just a regular brand appreciation or brand engagement. So it's important that you keep separate channels. Same thing, empower your agents. And how do you empower them? By offering them a unified customer record, end-to-end journey. By the time they reach out to you, your rep exactly know on the screen what were some of the previous interactions, because your customer experience or the help desk software is connected with your order management. It can also pull in and say that what are some of the recent orders that this customer has actually posted, or what are some of the things that this customer has done with you. I think these are some of the things which are universal and non-negotiable today, as I happen to mention about it. Important point, which is also very critical in the social media thing: solve in public. If there has been a mention of your brand and where people are not very happy with the service, that is out there in the public, it's important that you go very genuine with that, and you give an impression to your customers that you really care. And it's just not the impression, but then you strive to do that every day, but solve that in public, because it shows that how customer obsessed organization you are. I think I will just summarize very quickly about it. So the point number one, if you really want me to, summarize what are the top three things that you can do in each of these five channels that I spoke about today, solve with empathy. I think this is really important, that you have empathy and you have UCR, Unified Customer Record, made available to your reps so that they can extend that empathy to the customers and get to solve their problems straight on. Second, select the channel that is appropriate for your business. Just don't follow, blindly, and then again for a fact that okay, just because so and so company is on say Twitter, you have to be. See and decide if it makes sense for your customer. So make the outside in approach when you set to do the customer experience on a omni-channel strategy. I think last but the most important thing, deflect FAQs or level one queries through self-service and bots. Not only it offers scalability, but it offers a faster time to resolution. So with that, thank you so much, and thank you for paying attention to whatever little that I shared on how to impart customer experience across multi-channel models. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Vishal, for that great presentation. If you have any questions for Vishal or the Freshworks Solutions, you can catch Vishal together with his colleagues over at the Freshworks booth at the booth section of the event, and then they'd be more than happy to assist you. Thanks again, Vishal.
Certainly. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Up next, we have a presentation on conversational commerce, future of retail by Ravi Sundararajan, COO of Gupshup.
Welcome to Retail Innovation Asia. Hope you're having a great conference. Today, what we plan to cover is how conversational commerce is going to change the future of retail. What's happened over the last few years, actually last couple of years, is there are three things that change the way consumers interact with brands. One is the ubiquitous availability of smartphones and cheap bandwidth, especially in emerging markets like India and several other countries in Asia. The second thing is the pandemic. Obviously, everything had to be done remote. The consumers could interact with brands that where they were doing before. So the need to do things remote kind of was forced upon the consumers. And so that led to several changes in expectations. And the third thing, obviously, is there are a lot of innovations because of that happened, that had done before, that came into forefront, like digital wallet, mobile payments, there's payment interfaces like UPI and so on and so forth, and several other innovations that helped accelerate these things. So given these three changes, what the consumer behavior became very different in the sense that now that the consumers have a lot of time to go and have a very interactive response to do product discovery, figure out what they want, personalize it. 91% of the consumers said that they prefer personalized support and communication and personalized way of shopping. So currently, even if you're shopping for a makeup, the consumers want to go figure out what's the right thing, right color, research what are the other things, be it any other product that they're looking at. The personalization is becoming very important. And then obviously, if they're always on and they're interacting with the brand all the time, the responsiveness is also needed, right? Most of them said that there were 57% of them said that they expect the customers, the brands to interact with them anytime, anywhere, and be available all the time. And so these three things, the interactive nature of their communications and the need to be always on and responsive and making it personalized, tends the conversational way of working with them, be it conversational marketing, conversational support, conversational commerce, is the preferred mode of communication for these various brands. And if that is the preferred mode, because they want to have an interactive experience, which is personalized, targeted, contextual, and always on support, then what is the best way to deliver that? So today, if you can see, websites are suboptimal. These, even in late 90s and stuff like that, there were more websites. Then we moved to the app economy, but now there are super apps like WeChat in China or Uber and so on and so forth. And there are only so many great apps you can have. And the apps that are actually taking most of the time are the messaging apps, right? In China is WeChat, in various countries in emerging markets is WhatsApp. Some use Instagram, Facebook Messenger, Viber, Line, Kakao Talk, and so on and so forth. So what's happening is that the consumers don't have the ability to download 10 travel apps, 10 retail apps, banking apps, a dozen banking apps, and so on and so forth, or airline apps. So there's app fatigue, right? You just have a screen. You want to keep a dozen apps that you interact with mostly, and some of them are super apps, some of them are messaging apps, and then you want to stick with it. Even interaction with things like LinkedIn and Facebook, which are all kind of very desktop oriented, are going mobile. So the messaging apps is where they're always on. So what do you do in your mobile today? The most important thing that anyone does in a mobile is message, be it text messaging or using a popular messaging app that's popular in your region. You go and do that. So today, we're taking examples of some popular messaging apps, especially in Asia. There are a couple of billion people on WhatsApp, of which close to 200 million of them are actually, interacting with a brand on WhatsApp and doing WhatsApp business messaging. 90% of the users follow a brand on Instagram, and especially D2C brands is a huge loyal following. And over 85% of the consumers agree that interacting with the business over messaging apps is the best way to build relationships, have conversations, make it interactive. Now, and you can see the trend, right? Especially in markets in Southeast Asia and India, they're kind of mimicking where LATAM is, where these are the non-SMS message count, right? 5.8 trillion with 671 million users. In Southeast Asia is 7.2 trillion with 651 million users. It's not as much as what's happening in LATAM and Middle East. We're going to catch up in Asia because there you have double the number of messages going with lesser number of handsets, like mobile handsets. So clearly there are certain mobile first geographies like LATAM and Middle East, but even India, Southeast Asia, various markets in Asia catching up. China is already there with WeChat and everything being done there. So what this shows is that today people want to interact with their brands using their mobile across various channels. So the solution that we offer is to use our single API, which is the CPaaS, we call it the cloud communications platform, the basic platform that enables you to interact with brands using text messaging, voice, WhatsApp, Instagram, and various other popular messaging apps, Facebook Messenger, Google Business Messages, RCS, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the common ones. And then on top of that, you build conversational solutions. And we have, which is the bot platform that we have, conversational automation platform, where you can build conversational marketing, conversational commerce, conversational support for pre-purchase, purchase, and post-purchase journeys, and then create engagement solutions based on the industry you're in, be it retail, e-commerce. And today the focus is going to be more on retail. And what this helps you do, these type of solutions, is cover the entire customer journey, be it marketing or pre-purchase, where you do lead generation, promotions, or loyalty, be it commerce, where you're doing onboarding and registration, or catalog browsing and purchase, or order notifications, and then you go on to kind of customer support. So because now customers want to message a business across the purchase journey, right? Be it pre-purchase, purchase, or post-purchase. They say over 75% of them said that this is how they want to make a general inquiry, ask about the product, do product discovery, make a purchase, schedule an appointment, get product or service support, or comment about a product. All this can be done using, and they use it for various reasons, right? You acquire, as we discussed before, is for acquiring customers and lead, communicating offers to help conversions, cross-sell, upsell other products, enable transactions, and obviously take care of customers and do order updates. So what all this has done is, now when the customer expectation is to have things interactive, always on, personalized, targeted, contextual, all the shopping stuff and the experiences also are going to move digital, right? So digitally native companies are actually created whole companies and flows based on that. But even retail's combination of offline and online is important. But the majority of the customers are adopting digital methods. So even the digital marketing that the retailers are doing is becoming very important. And the digital marketing needs to be focused towards conversational commerce and conversational engagement with consumers, which is becoming very important. And things like conversational advertisements. This is an example of how Instagram, you kind of go use a DM to talk about a certain brand, and you explain to them, and they can give more, you create much more interaction and personalization and customization. And then you can also create some bots to discover the ads to be discovered, to create kind of pre-purchase flows and create more awareness, and then actually sell and do the commerce via channels like WhatsApp, where WhatsApp has come up with list messages, buttons, templates, and also a catalog where you can list one type of product and have 30 things to show. If it's for that category, you can show up to 30 products as with images. So this transcends literacy barriers, where people in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they can look at the images and say what they want, click on it. You can shop, and then you can browse and figure it out. And even in this case, you have certain brands or makeup, you can go to certain categories and get 30 per item and then do that. So this kind of combination of helps you upsell, cross-sell, understand what they are, and also help in terms kind of driving conversions and then sales assistance and closure. Also, customer support can be done via chat, where brands can ask questions about the product. We can also do offline, online, where you put QR codes when you ship products to customers, what they've ordered. And then through that, they can use get on digital on-ramp, be it AR, VR, or any of the stuff, to understand the product use case, to do some documentation and setup of the product, or even ask some questions about the product, or know upcoming new product introductions or offers or conversions for repurchase, rebuy, or even talk about their experience and figure out how satisfied they are. All this is possible now because you're using kind of going where the consumers are. You're using omnichannel experiences for various things. And conversational commerce is becoming very important. And also now you can monitor what the customers think about your brand, right? Because as you move towards mobile and you're trying to engage them where they are, if they are in mobile apps, messaging apps, you go where they are, conduct commerce there, enable sales, conversions, upsell, cross-sell, rebuys, everything can be done there. And also you want to know the sentiment of the customer. If anything is wrong, if anybody complains about a certain thing, using some of these customer support bots that we talked about. You can also have these reputation bots that track across the journey, right? When they bought a product, after the pre-purchase, even we're looking at how are they being engaged, even when they're browsing your product and understanding and picking the right product, all the way up to purchasing and after they purchase, how they are. So when you respond to this right away, when you have a social reputation bot, you can manage, address these, head them up right away and address this so that some of these reviews don't kind of spiral in. So that could be very useful. And so that's kind of what the social reputation bot will help to do. So what we're doing is we are able to kind of create an integrated experience. We're not saying everything, you're augmenting your offline campaigns with mobile experiences, driving them to mobile, be it with QR codes, and these could just be kind of for creating more awareness about your product, driving sales, driving conversions, and also making people understand some of these various things that you offer and create a very integrated experiences. So to summarize, why is conversational commerce so important for the future of retail are three most important things. One is personalization, right? Because majority of the consumers say that they would like a personalized shopping experience, because now when things are remote and they're able to interact with the brands remotely and have all the time to figure out what they want, customize the product for them. And this is why we call it one-on-one with everyone. That's the future of retail, because here any person who's starting a brand or looking at a retail thing, you want to address millions of consumers, but you want to feel millions of consumers special and have one-on-one experiences with them that's catered and tailored to them. And that's why personalization is going to be very, very important going forward in future. And once with this personalization, you can also contextualize it, target some of these experiences, and create much more better engagement and go where the consumers are to deliver this personalized and targeted experiences. And that could be even contextual. When they're going through a certain retail location that you can flash offers or flash things based on what they're looking for. You can understand that and get better engagement. And then with better engagement and much more personalization and giving one-on-one experiences with all of your consumers, with everyone, what you do is you also improve your efficiencies, which can give back, kick back in terms of when people are happy and then your costs are down, you can reinvest those costs in better journeys, better experiences for pre-purchase and purchase, and also turn some of the support journeys into repurchase, rebuy journeys, CSAT. And when you improve your CSAT and NRR, customers are happy, they come back and buy more. So everything is tied to a very comprehensive conversational commerce experiences that kind of is personalized, targeted, always on, interactive, contextual, creating better engagement and efficiency and helping you improve and improve the commerce aspect of your offering. Hope this helps, and we look forward to engaging with you all further. Thank you.
All right. Great presentation by Ravi, CEO of Gupshup. If you have any question regarding his presentation, you can catch the Gupshup team over at the booth section. They have their Gupshup booth there. That is a wrap for our experiential retail track. Moving on to our last track of the day. See you all there.